Matt Rhule put some of his freshmen through a TikTok workout. What are we talking about? What does this mean? And why do I love every single part of this? We'll talk about it right now. If you're a Nebraska fan, welcome. It's college football, nothing but college football year round, right here on this channel, on this show, The Hard Count. Would love to have you part of it. Best way to be part of it is by being subscribed. Also, follow me on the socials. It's funny to say that during a segment like this. Follow me on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, at JD Pickell. Also, on TikTok, at JD Pickell, for those of y'all that are interested in that side of things. So, to give you some context to this whole thing, at the NFL Combine, Matt Rhule shows up, goes on the Pat McAfee show. And Dylan Raiola previously had put out his own TikTok dance. Maybe it was somebody else's account, but he was in a TikTok dance, and McAfee, in a good-natured way, asked him about it. And Matt Rhule then jumps into a story about how his 9-year-old daughter is in the training room at Nebraska, and she's getting set to do a TikTok with a Nebraska volleyball player who is apparently an All-American. Like, it's all good-natured stuff. But Matt Rhule is like, hey, I'm not a TikTok guy. I'm not allowing this. So he downloads TikTok, and then he goes to find out that a lot of his players are on TikTok and, filming dances and whatever. But the real issue here is Matt Rhule said he saw some guys, maybe it's one video, I don't know the number here, but he saw his players, I'm assuming it was a freshman, doing a TikTok dance within the building, within the football building, which he says is a hard no. Which then leads to what I said at the top of this thing. Matt Rhule, the strength staff, put the freshman class, it sounds like, through what they call a TikTok workout. What that entails is some freshmen pushing plates across the turf, which if you've ever pushed a plate, like a metal plate across the turf, it's not fun. It burns every single part of your legs. It's miserable. But on that plate, taped to it, according to Matt Rhule, was the different social media bios for these individuals that are pushing the plates. So a little bit intense, a little bit old school, sure, but I loved it. On top of that, to end the workout, they got guys doing wall sits, and during the wall sits, each player had to come out and do a 10-second TikTok dance, which this is hilarious. Like, this story in itself is awesome when you're just scrolling through during the month of March and trying to, satiate your appetite for college football and anything to do with it. But I think there's more to this story than just the laughable comedic part of it. Matt Rhule, we've said it for a long time, he is as real as it gets. What you see is what you get. He's a great communicator. He sticks to his guns. He sticks to his culture. And isn't that exactly why you hired him for stuff like this? At the end of the McAfee interview, or at the end of that segment at least, that conversation, he goes, welcome to the old school. Matt Rhule is old school. And that's what you wanted when you brought him to Nebraska. That's what you're getting. All the things that are amplifiers of talent. Like Nebraska, I think they're still working on having a top-tier roster in the Big Ten. I happen to believe with the right resources and with Matt Rhule running the show, I think they could eventually be in that threshold. But he has the things, culture, toughness, way of doing things. He calls it the process. Like, that's what allowed Michigan to beat Ohio State last year. That's what allows you to overachieve when you have a roster that's only supposed to win 4 or 5 games. You go win 8 or 9. Like, that's what makes the difference for you. And so I'm not trying to take too much from this TikTok worker because it's a hilarious story. But I can't help but appreciate, in a world where there's so much player mobility and NIL's at the forefront of every conversation, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but there's so much in today's world, much less college football, that is me-centric, about mine, about what I get out of this, and it's very transactional. That is the anti of what a good culture is. And so for Matt Rhule now to be real and continuing to stick to his guns like I just mentioned, there's something refreshing about that. But I think there's even more so something sustainable about that. Like, if you are trying to bend the knee for every different player's demands or personal desires, for lack of a better term, like, you're not going to actually build anything. There's no strong foundation and no principles to operate from. And so whether the guys transfer out of Nebraska or transfer in Nebraska, like, it's going to happen to some extent. But for Matt Rhule to stand his ground on some of these things, I think that's long-term going to win. And going back to this, I think that's going to be sustainable for Nebraska. Because think about it this way. When the next freshman class comes to Nebraska, this freshman class that had to do this workout, that's then going to be sophomores, they're not going to allow that incoming freshman class to do TikToks in the building. And that sounds sort of stupid to say out loud, but I'm telling you, like, when you have a certain way of doing things, and it's not just the coaches holding the team accountable, it's the team holding the team accountable, that's where that's where you really start to cook with some serious gas. That's where you start winning games in the fourth quarter. So it's the TikTok dances in one regard, but you know what? It also equates to holding your guy accountable to running the correct route on any different play, being in the correct coverage, wearing the correct things to workouts. Like all the little things make up the big things, and that's exactly, I think, what Matt Rhule brings to the table. I'll say this too. When I was at Baylor under Matt Rhule as a graduate walk-on, the freshman class got in some trouble. Not sharing family business, but the freshman class got in some trouble, and they didn't have the TikTok element to it, but I saw the plate push workout plus wall sits on the back end, and like, y'all, that was some serious stuff. There was nothing funny about the individuals going through that workout. We didn't even finish the workout because of how long it was taking to get done. So all that's to say, I'm excited about the direction for Nebraska. I've said that for a long time, but this is just another peek behind the curtain here if you're talking about Matt Rhule and the culture that he's built in place. And I'm very, very excited to see what they are here over the course of the next few seasons. So get at me again on the socials. Funny enough, make sure you're subscribed here. Let me know what you think about this. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We'll keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.